Nanachka has joined. Did everybody just get a message pop up saying this is being recorded? Okay, good.
Yes.
Great. All right. Good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday, March 8th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. This is a meeting of the advisory committee. We have a quorum present, and we also have our town administrator here to start off a discussion with. We actually have a few things to discuss: overall capital plan discussion, and then also there were a couple of budgets that were still in flux, specifically the town administrator budget and the police department budget. So I think we may want to revisit those if they can be voted at this time. But Dawn, how would you like me? Do you want me to share my screen with the capital plan document?
Yes, please. And then I will highlight the mathematical error that Nanachka discovered after I sent this out. So,
okay. Well, if I'm not sharing the right document too, just let me know.
that looks like the right document. Yep.
Okay. So just, I guess, to briefly summarize, everything from Chapter 90 up are capital expenses that do not appear in the warrant because we're using ARPA or Chapter 90.
Correct.
Yep. And then do you want to just talk through the ones at the bottom?
Sure. First, I'll start with the town building emergency lights. This is the project that was formerly known as building repair fund. And as I said at the previous meeting, we aren't able to put money into an article for contingency work. We were trying to come up with something similar to a stabilization fund to be able to deal with emergency repair for buildings. A stabilization fund would still require a 2/3 town meeting vote. So that doesn't give us the ability to be nimble. So we took another approach, and we have received the draft version of the building study that we hired an engineer to do that was approved at last year's town meeting. We should have the final version any day now, but working from the draft, I worked with Randy, and he highlighted the fact that the first thing we should tackle for next year is the fact that we've got deficient emergency lighting for, I believe, all of our town buildings. So he thought that would be an important thing to deal with. So the proposed amount of money is $69,100 to fund that, and we have an article now on the warrant for it. I mean, yes, we now have an article on the warrant for it, and the way that we would propose to fund that is $64,055.20 from previously from old articles from town meeting that had remaining balances that can be released, and which would result in a total of $5,044.80 from free cash. We always try to find as much money from old articles every year as we can that can be turned back and reapplied. And so that's what we did for that. So in order to be able to do that, it requires an article. Originally, we had looked at doing that under ARPA. But it seemed to make sense to leverage our money better this way, to do it this way.
Okay.
And then the other free cash article that you see there is the storage shed for South Cemetery. The total for that is $16,000, where we propose to utilize, and and this is where my mathematical error comes in. I said, I totaled it at $7,441.73. Nanachka redoing my math based on those articles has it at $11,186.14. So the delta between that figure and $16,000 would come from free cash as well.
I see.
The one thing that fell off my previous capital plan submission, not sure exactly how I happen to chop this off, but this is what happens when we try to edit a PDF. We still have to account for the or capture the request for the plotter. And I sent out lease information. We have lease information that I sent out to you earlier, Brian, to share with the advisory committee. Wasn't sure how to capture that on this sheet, but I should still have the project here. But in my view, I reviewed the lease option information with Randy, and we felt that it seemed to make the most sense to go with the 3-year option with a maintenance plan, where at the end of 3 years, if we wanted to purchase the plotter at that point, we could do so for $1.
I'm gonna just briefly share that pricing document so that everybody can see it. This is the one you're referring
Brian,
to,
this
right?
is Ann. If you could, my iPad died, so I'm just on a phone. So if you could just tell me what I should be thinking of here.
Yep, sure.
Sorry,
So
I'm late. The iPad wouldn't boot.
no problem. Thanks for joining in. So basically what we're looking at is just a pricing document that shows the different monthly rates if we were to lease this large plotter printer for either a term of 3, 4, or 5 years with or without a maintenance agreement. And so if we were to just outright purchase the machine, it would be $10,875, right, Don?
Yes.
But one thing I didn't know was whether that, it seems like that's the purchase price, and that if we wanted a maintenance agreement, that would be an additional cost. If
It
we
would
did
be an
the,
additional cost. They just didn't capture it there.
yeah. And then the recommendation or the preference, it sounds like you and our DPW director have, would be the 36-month lease payment with the maintenance agreement at $414 per month. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
And that would be purchasing the plotter,
No, that would be leasing it.
leasing it. Okay.
So would that be 414 or 375?
It would be the
It would be 414.
whoops. Sorry.
It's 414 because that's the number for purchasing it at the end of 3 years for $1.
Do
If
we
you
have
work out-
any sense of what its life is ordinarily? How long do they last?
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know what the life expectancy is. I do know that I worry more about the technology evolving and wanting to keep up with it if we find that it's something that we want to continue doing, which I suspect that that we will.
Yeah, if you work out the numbers, that's probably this is the best. This is the best as far as 36-month lease. You get it at the end for $1. And you know, if we continue to use it for a little while, that's great. If we don't, we just get another one. So I mean, if you look at what the cost is plus the cost of the maintenance plan for 3 years, it's not a bad deal. It's a pretty good deal,
Okay.
actually.
Okay. Since some of these capital items are kind of reflected in the warrant, I'm just going to share that quickly. There were a few other things, Don, that I was hoping we could talk about with you before you jet. Hold on a second. Am I sharing the warrant now?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry. Too many things on my desktop right now. Okay, so this is this is the current draft of the warrant. This Article 5 is the one that you were just referring to. Oh, quick question about that, Dawn. So I think the last time you were here, we had talked about maybe including a line in the DPW operations budget that said something like, you know, building maintenance plan implementation. But it sounds like this is in lieu of that.
It is in lieu of that. Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's a one-time expense. It seemed like it made sense to capture it in an article. For FY '24, I'm sure we're going to continue to use the plan and come back with an article next year or the following year for more work. But this is hopefully our well-planned approach for ongoing building maintenance. So it seemed like doing it in an article rather than putting the amount in the buildings budget made more sense,
Okay.
because it's one-time work and not recurring work.
So I guess what I would say to the rest of the members of the advisory committee is, if you have questions about Article 5 for Dawn, you should ask them now, because we will be voting on this either tonight or on Thursday, but this is a good chance for you to ask those questions. If people are formulating their questions, in the meantime, Bob Zakansky, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just, going forward, I continue to seek a 3 to 5 year capital planning budget so that we can lay out articles in years in advance. And that fits in with what you're describing here. But I don't think we should just be doing it for the items in the report. We should be doing long-term planning for all the capital expenditures. And you know, I think this is a good example of if there were 4 or 5 other things that needed $100,000, it's better to put them in an article and just present it to the town. So.
And Brian, to Bob's point, I am definitely working on a 3-year plan. It actually is part of my goals. The challenge is we're still working with new software for that we've got to work on the fleet. So we've got the DPW fleet that we need to be able to plan for. We don't have the final version of the building assessment yet. As I said, we're working off a draft. So Bob is absolutely right. I think this begins the process of being able to put together that type of plan. And I need a little more consistency, and I don't mean this as a negative comment at all. I need a little more consistency in working with the school district and the new superintendent about how he wants to do or would propose to do long-range planning for school capital. And the superintendent has been excellent to work with. So that, as I said, that's not a criticism at all. We need to get that in place as well. But Bob is absolutely right.
So the way that I've been thinking about this is that usually our biggest ticket capital items fall into a few different categories. There's culverts, there's like vehicles, part of the fleet, and then there's building maintenance stuff, and then there's whatever the school district has going on. So for culverts, I think we've got a culvert assessment either ongoing or almost finished. Is that right?
We just got the grant.
Right.
So we'll be kicking it off soon. So we will have a townwide, and I'm glad you brought that up. We will have a townwide assessment done of all of our culverts, accompanied by GIS mapping. GIS mapping.
Okay, so with that, and then with this building maintenance report and the new fleet management software that you guys are working out, it seems like those 3 things will be really, really helpful in the development of the 3-year capital plan.
Yeah, totally agree.
All right, we can skip over Article 6, Article 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Well, we'll come back to 12, but 13 and 14 are the shed and the printer. And so this number 3,744.41, that's the correct delta. Is that right?
I believe it is.
No, that's just the, that's one article. There's a whole
sure?
bunch of different articles.
It
Oh,
just
okay.
it looks like that's the amount that I missed. Quite honestly, Ninochka,
Yep,
I think
yep.
if you do the math, which is why Ninochka caught my mistake, I think I dropped that amount out of the calculation.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so we end up using like 4,800 of free cash.
Okay.
Right.
And then there is an article for the printer, but do we keep it as an article if we lease it?
No, my recommendation is that, and I've already made this recommendation in an email to the select board today, that we remove that article from the warrant and lease it, obviously pending advisory approval. And we would need to add the lease payments to the DPW budget
Okay.
or the planning budget, wherever we decide to put it. It's been sponsored by the Department of Public Works, so I suggest it goes in the Department of Public Works budget.
Where will it be located?
It'll be located in the town hall, most likely. But I haven't finalized that yet.
Could you touch on Article 12, the solar lease project?
Sure. This is something that, let's see, we're in FY23 now. So when the select board and I established my goals for FY22, the last fiscal year, one of the things that the board wanted me to work on was an assessment of where, if anywhere, it made sense for us to site a solar array. As I've said many times, we are a green community, and it's been a goal of many of us to try to support solar where possible or as possible. So the first logical location was the capped landfill. And that became untenable, largely because we don't have sufficient three-phase power going out there, and to have to run three-phase power out there to it made the expense cost prohibitive. So the next best solution was the leach field in behind Florence Sawyer. So what this project would accomplish is it would provide electricity to Emerson. And if there was excess electricity to Florence Sawyer, and if there was excess electricity, I believe we could run it to Emerson as well, but I don't think there will be. It would provide it at a rate that's cheaper than what Florence, what the school district is currently paying. And as I said, support our green initiatives and help reduce our carbon footprint. So save money for the school district, which ultimately saves money for us in our assessment, improve our carbon footprint, and meet our goal of at least starting to get into supplying solar power.
Okay.
So
And
this
then,
would be on the field by the wastewater system.
It would be on top
Or
of the
it'd be
leach
further
field.
down.
It would be on top of the leach field, adjacent to the wastewater treatment facility. Yes.
so
So it's
I don't know
not
if
the
you can-
lower field, it's the upper field.
Yes.
Okay.
Dawn, can you see, is my cursor hovering in the right area?
I believe it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I
okay.
can see, Brian. I don't know why I'm pointing because you can't see where I'm pointing. But down at like 7 o'clock from where your cursor is, you could see the water treatment facility there.
Yep,
Right
right
there.
here.
Yep.
Right.
And how much of that field would that take up? The entire field?
Pretty much.
I see Bob Sikansky has a question.
I think it's important to point out, Don, what's the cost to the town going to be of installing this solar field?
There is no expense to the town.
Thank you.
And how is that, just, I'm curious, how is that the case? It's because we're a green community, so we have some sort of procurement incentive or?
What I've worked with a company called Power Options, which is a nonprofit whose charter is to do work like this. They've gone through the state bid procurement process. So Select Power is an approved state vendor, already been pre-approved, as I said, through the state bid process. And it is, they put together projects such as this. So they take the responsibility for building and maintaining the array, but they also, make money off of the production of the electricity too. So there's money in it for them, and it's done at no expense to the town, because we are then off taking the energy, in this case for the school district.
Okay.
How much of that field would the array cover, Don?
I'm sorry, Ann, I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry, how much of that field would, how much of the array would, how much of that field would be taken up by the solar panels? 100% of the field, 50% of the field?
I don't want to say 100%, but certainly the vast majority. Yeah.
How is that field used today?
It's not.
Not at all?
No,
I mean,
it's
I
not.
see a lot of people using it as a walking route, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, people walk around it. I've never observed people walking on it. People walk in the area, and they'll still be able to walk in the area. They just, it's, we will fence, I'm sure they will fence off the solar array, but the area can still be accessed for walking. So I don't think it should have a negative impact on that.
Bob, did you have another question?
No, I was going to address your question about how the finances work. Years ago, maybe it was when I was on advisory, there was a discussion of a solar farm, and my recollection was that these companies don't make money off the electricity, they make their money off the tax breaks that are incentives to produce green energy. That the tax breaks are so vast that that's really where the profit lies. I just wanted to throw that out.
Thank you. Omid?
For them to build anything over there, especially fencing it off, does it have any environmental requirement that has to be done? Environmental impact study that has to be done?
I've had conservation involved early on. We're not aware of anything over there that's a showstopper. They've already done a check with DEP. And,
okay, that's all. I was gonna see if
yeah.
it was supposed to be done and if they're gonna pay for it. That's all.
I mean, it's a passive thing. I mean, they just put it in, and there's no environmental real impact at all. And to Bob's point, they make their money off of the incentives, just like homeowners. Like I have a solar array on my roof, and I get SREC money just because I'm producing solar energy. So not only do I get the credit for what I produce, I'm getting money every quarter for what I'm producing. So it's the same thing with these guys here. So it's a win-win for everybody.
100%. I 100% understand on everything else, but every time you talk about putting fence around a land that's public and everything else, and also nature, EPA usually requires a impact because you're closing off movement for creature. So I was going to, usually they require those kind of study if you're putting a fence anywhere.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. I was going to see if that requires it and if they're going to pay for it or the town has to pay for it. That was the question.
No, I think, I mean, certainly they would want to fence the perimeter of the array, but I don't think they're going to have a negative impact on the area. But that, I mean, yes, that's certainly a concern.
Bob G,
And
you
what
have a question?
percentage of the field would they occupy? All of it?
I think it's most of it, Ann. I think Dawn basically said virtually all of it. Bob G, you had a question?
Yeah, I was just curious, what happens after 25 years? If we do not extend the agreement, is the town on the hook to pay to remove all this stuff, or does the company take it out?
The company would be on the hook to disassemble it.
Okay, thank you.
Bob Zikansky?
Yeah, in pursuit of another issue that came up in that area, I walked that whole area from Florence Sawyer over to where 580 Main Street would go, just because I wanted to see what the issues were for myself. And putting a fence around the solar array is not going to block the movement of any wildlife. It may take away a shortcut in that they won't be able to trot across an open field, but you're not going to be prohibiting any animal from or creature from getting to or from water or limiting their ability to get from one end of this to the other, depending, irregardless of what direction they're coming from.
Thank you for that. Okay, so we did have a couple of operating budget questions for Dawn, but I want to make sure we've covered all the capital questions that anyone on the committee might have.
And I have one quick go back with article, I think it was 13 on the storage shed. What's the final free cash number?
I think Nanachka said it was around 4,800.
$4,813.86.
Thank you, Nanachka.
1380. I just want to get it in the minutes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Dawn, I'm going to share the budget spreadsheet. And last time you were here, we did not vote on your town administrator budget because we weren't sure really where things might land with compensation reserve and all that. And so I guess what I'm wondering is, and this might be a question for Nanachka too, the number that we have in 244,536, here, I'll try to make that bigger too. I'm sorry, guys.
Did you see me trying to stick my eyes into the
I did.
computer?
I was like, oh, she's squinting. So I don't know if this is the number that we should be voting on or whether there are any late breaking changes.
That should be the final number.
Let me just take a quick look.
So the only thing I changed was the compensation reserve from 60 to 20.
Yeah. And yes, and Nanachka and I discussed that, and I felt that was a reasonable number to go forward with.
Okay. Okay, so we're good with 244,536. Okay. Does somebody want to make a motion?
I move we accept the town administrator budget at 244,536.
Second that.
Okay, roll call. Omid,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. Okay, and then I know this isn't technically your budget, Dawn, but the police department's budget we had not voted on.
Mhm.
So I think Nanachka, the number that we have plugged in right now is 1,607,650.
Yes, that incorporates the new wage numbers from the contract.
I'm trying to be delicate here. I just don't know what's finalized and what, like, whether we should even do this tonight or whether I think I saw some stuff on the select board's agenda on Thursday. So I don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
I appreciate that, Brian. That is very close to right. I can't tell you that it is exactly right because once assuming the select board signs off on the, what's being referenced as the side letters with the union, there will be a slight adjustment. Potentially, I'm not positive that Chief Nelson already dropped that number into his budget for 23. It's not a huge number, but it is a number, and I just don't know if he's already dropped it in or not. So you could certainly vote it Thursday. But I'm not certain that it's ready to be voted yet.
Or we could, as you and I were talking about before we got started, we could vote it on the 22nd. Because then
Yes, you could.
it would definitely be done by then.
You could absolutely vote it to 22nd.
Okay.
That's probably a better idea, actually.
Yeah, why don't we do that then? And I don't think, there was anything else that you needed to weigh in on for the operation budget.
Okay.
And
Are there any
Natsky,
remaining capital planning questions or comments that anyone has for me?
I don't see any.
Right. I think it's gone well this year. You know, we've had the challenge of what to do with ARPA and how we could manage ARPA. The government made it easier for us about a month ago. Before that, it was extremely challenging. But when I was first told we would have $1.6 million of ARPA to work with, I actually naively thought to myself, how in the world are we ever going to spend all that money? And quickly figured out there were plenty of ways to spend it that we need to spend it on.
Oh, actually, you know what? There was one last thing I wanted to get your take on, which is that I had gotten a comment about how obviously we're all seeing energy prices ticking up pretty dramatically. And so far, our budgeting for FY23 has been pretty flat. I mean, we've made some upward adjustments for energy, but by and large, not dramatic ones. And I guess the question is, like, in the next 2 weeks, is that something we may want to revisit, or are you feeling comfortable with what we've approved so far?
I'm feeling as comfortable as I can be with what you've approved so far because we lack any better data. I think advisory's done the best planning budget-wise that you can with the data that you have. With what's transpiring right now, we don't know where energy prices are going to go. So if we do have overruns, that is certainly an unanticipated expense that the reserve is perfectly a valid use for. So I don't have any better suggestions than what you've already done.
Yeah, I mean, because right now everything that's more expensive is still, this is all FY22 expenses. So who knows where things are going to be in July.
Right.
Okay, well, that's really helpful. Unless there are no other questions, I'm happy to let our town administrator get on with his evening. Thanks.
Can I just ask one quick question?
Yeah.
And maybe this will be discussed in the planning board. If we're moving the master planning to the free cash, do you put that on the capital sheet just to show what you're spending in free cash, even though it's not really capital?
You mean put it on Dawn's capital sheet? No,
I didn't know if you guys were looking for everything in one place, if it mattered.
So, I mean, I'm just thinking in terms of the presentation that advisory gives. I would have included it in, normally I do a slide of articles that correspond to capital. So I would have included it in that slide. I mean, I think of it as a quasi capital. I mean, planning can be considered a capital expense.
It's not a single large expense, but it's an expense that's going to occur over multiple years. I mean, in that respect, it's like the difference between planning and actually doing the work on a culvert. It's a multi-stage project. You've got a scope, you've got a price for the whole thing. and having that price beforehand actually allows you to go shopping. So because you can shop for the whole package instead of shopping for consulting and stuff like that piecemeal. So I think it should be treated as a capital item. It's a long-term investment in, in what we're doing. It's not a consumable. But I would like to see it on listed on the different budget spreadsheet tools along with the other capital projects.
Okay,
Brian, can I ask you a question before I go?
sure.
As far as the lease of the plotter, I just wanted to confirm that advisory is supportive of leasing rather than purchasing. And if you are, then that's good direction for the select board for when they review the warrant and potentially remove the article from the warrant. And then you would just need to decide where in the DPW budget you would place the expense.
Yeah.
Does advisory need to vote on that?
I think we should, if not vote, at least everybody should say how they feel. Because, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was assuming that what we would do is basically weave it into the budget for the 22nd and it would be incorporated into DPW, but that was just my assumption. But how do the rest of advisory feel about that?
I think it's a fine idea.
Sounds like a good approach to me.
Okay, seems like everybody's on board with that. So yeah, so that's what we'll
Makes
do.
sense.
We can get a number and find a good spot in the DPW budget for it.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay. So unless there's anything else, we can go through, there's a few other operating budgets that we can revote. And then I did want to run through the warrant again and vote on what we can tonight.
All right, Brian, if that's all for me, I'm gonna run away if you don't mind.
Of course. Thanks again, Don.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, Don.
Okay. So going back up to the top. So we just voted town administrator. I was gonna have us vote on this on the 22nd, but I would like to see whether people have thoughts about our advisory reserve fund. It's been in there at 100 this entire budget cycle so far. Anybody feel like we may want to have a discussion about changing that?
Brian, how do the bottom line numbers look across the whole budget? Like, how much flexibility do we have?
It's a great question. So right now, this isn't exact, but let's just say roughly we're $370,000 in the hole, in the sense that we have to find $370,000 outside of our taxable levy. And so presumably that'll come from free cash. So because right now we're using so little free cash to pay for articles that what we'll do is we'll fill the hole by plugging in right there the amount that we need to balance the budget. And then we'll still have a free cash balance above our target.
Quite a bit above our target, right? So it seems like we have some flexibility if we want to build that in.
Right. Bob Zakansky?
Yeah, if my recollection is correct, you've had to go back to town meeting the past few years to get additional money in May to handle year-end issues. It's been $100,000 since the time I joined advisory, back when dinosaurs still roamed the earth. And so raising it by $15,000 or $20,000 is probably appropriate at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Natasha and I were talking about this today. I think it was the year before last we did it at annual town meeting for FY20. And it seems like it may be prudent to do this year too, but we can,
So what's our free cash now? What that we deal with?
so the certified free cash is $995,000.
Okay.
And we're using 50 of it for different articles on the warrant. So we're not
Mhm.
using very much of it.
And so that leaves what? Do
Like
the arithmetic for me, Brian.
940.
So we also have, I don't know if you can see it on that sheet, Brian, just at the bottom. There's the exhaust filter. There's about $49,000
Oh, right there. Okay.
left. And typically we have so many spending articles, we just have it to offset those articles, but we're actually not spending more than that. So I was proposing have an article on the warrant to close that out, and that way it'll just go back to free cash and not apply it to anything else.
Well, let me put my 2 cents in. I think it's fine that we raise the advisory reserve somewhat. And, we can figure out what that number is. I'm also not an advocate of getting a target that when we're done of a free cash target of 350,000. I think we need to look at raising that number. I think we're in a really interesting situation, and interesting being not good, with we're already past the threshold with what the schools are spending and what the percentage of our budget is relative to the district. And we have this conflict between Ukraine and Russia, which we have no idea where that's going to turn. I think it's prudent that we, if we want to use some of that money, potentially, I don't know if there's any discussion about returning that to the taxpayers as far as balancing the budget. But I think we should look at not have a target of 350, but have a target, a much higher number than 350. Because we have no idea what's going to be happening upcoming. So I think we should be prudent in that area.
Stan, would just
not limit ourselves.
Just to make sure I'm understanding, would you say a target, do you mean for this year or as like an ongoing target for future
Ongoing,
years?
ongoing. I think we used to have in years past $1 million, $1.5 million in free cash. And there was a effort to whittle that down. And I think that's been a big mistake. And I think right now we need to have, I think, putting some money in the capital line item for in one of the articles, I think is great. But I think we should be looking at having a higher free cash number moving forward. And we have a number of things that are coming up potentially online. I think we need to come up with basically a savings account for the town, because the school.
So our free cash has been what, year to year?
Around 350 for the last few years.
Okay. And so what are we thinking of increasing that to? I'm not objecting to the idea. I think you're right, Dan, to have some.
I don't know what the right number is, but I think it needs to be more than 350. And I think year over year that number should probably grow a bit. I don't think we should pick some arbitrary number and say that's the number and stick with that. I think that number should grow over time. I think we need to have some mechanism to save some cash for this town for unforeseen expenses. Don't forget, we're coming up in the next few years. We're going to have to repave 117. There was a very adamant group in this town that said we don't want MassDOT to take over Route 117 in the town of Bolton. We have several $1 million we're going to have to spend on repaving 117. There's at least one structure underneath 117 around Wilder Road that's going to require between $1 to $2 million just to upgrade that structure, which is already in failure. And I think we need to start looking at this stuff. So I think that there's a lot of stuff that we're going to need to spend money on, and I think we need to be prudent and come up with some
Look,
quote
you're
unquote
preaching
savings.
to the choir here, Stan, but I just wanted to get a sense of what that bogey would be.
I don't know, Ann. I mean, I don't know exactly what that number is. Unfortunately, Don's not with us right now, but I think we need to look at that. Obviously, we have.
I would agree, and I would have it. I wouldn't turn it over to the big issue with the road before was turning it over to the state so they could maintain it, and losing control for the center of the town is stupid.
Well, that's a moot point, Ann. It doesn't matter anymore. I mean, we're now responsible for it. We have to pay for it. We have to figure out a way to come up with the money for it. So we're not going to get down that discussion.
I want to hear from Bob Zakansky and Omid, and then I wanted to briefly share on my screen a document that may kind of inform this discussion. So, and Ninotchka, you had your hand up too, but let's start with Bob.
Yeah, I don't know how to raise my hand. I'm sorry.
Go like this.
By the time I find the button to raise my hand, I forget my question.
Ninotchka, can you go first? Because I think you had something.
Yeah.
On the price.
Ninotchka should go next.
Yep.
My only, I have no opinion on the matter, just that we have signed, we have policies, written financial policies. So if we are going to change it, it would have to go through the policy process.
Right. Omid or Bob, who wants to go?
I was gonna say the same thing almost. I didn't know about the policy part. I was gonna be like, we can't raise it 1 year. It's probably have to be built into like 5 or 10 year plan that each year we're gonna raise this much money, like smaller thresholds. So like build it over like a decade or half a decade or something like that. And that's like involves a higher involvement of everyone else and the select committee and everyone else to come up with a plan.
So the reason we post the selectmen for these meetings is so the selectmen can have deliberations without any problems. I will argue against increasing the free cash. I personally think it's a little excessive right now, but certainly not larger. Rather than stock up money out of fear because of what might or might not happen, how about if we put together a 3 to 5 year plan to address all the stuff that could happen and then figure out a way to finance it? Just piling on money without having a plan to use it is unfair to taxpayers. It's the lazy way out, and there's no way to justify increasing the free cash minimum target.
Okay, so this is why it's helpful to have these written policies. So I'm going to share a couple of things really quickly. So if you can all see this, this is the section of our financial policies where we say that we're endeavoring to maintain free cash in the range of 3 to 5% of the annual budget at the start of the fiscal year. And then we have a footnote that says in recent years, budget decision makers have aimed to begin each year with a 350 free cash balance, which basically means we want to have 350 as we're ending this process in the hopes that that translates into, when DOR certifies it in the fall, a 3 to 5% of the total budget. The other thing I want to share is just how in recent years, the 350 target has been low in the sense that it does not generate the 3 to 5%. So for example, sorry, I have this little spreadsheet where I like track our compliance. So we have this certified free cash in the range of 3 to 5% in the prior fiscal year budget. And then this shows last year that we got to 2.47. And if you look at what you're comparing, you basically have, this is the amount that was certified by DOR compared to the total FY21 expenditures. So we actually, I haven't done the math for this year, but the certified number for this year is like 990,000. And then if you put it over this year's operating budget, we probably are now in that 3 to 5% range. So technically, I would say based on the numbers, I think I agree with Stan that if we want to be in that 3 to 5% range, which our policy requires, we may need to up that 350 because as it is, the 350 is not generating a certified amount that's enough. I don't know if that made any sense.
Exactly. I think at a first blush, we should be at least targeting what we say we're going to target, and we haven't. So I think we need to at least strive for that, and then we can have a discussion longer term, to Bob's point, on how to finance all this stuff longer term. But we're not even meeting our own goals that we have down in written goals. So we need to do that. We really need to do that. We're not being fiscally responsible in that area.
3% of our proposed FY23 budget is 829,000.
Right. Okay, well, that was fun. Sorry, Nanachka, just get me back on track. Did we need to vote on any other operating budgets tonight? Oh yeah, God, we have to go back to the
Planning
town
board.
planning board. Yep, I'm sorry.
I think it's
Okay.
really just taking that 30 grand out.
So I'm going to highlight that because we're going to probably talk about that. So Nanachka, in this version, the 30 grand is already out.
That's right.
So can you just double check that these are the right numbers that I'm highlighting right here?
Yes, assuming we take the 30, put it on an article, a free cash article.
Okay, so why don't we pause here and just kind of discuss that as a group? Because if people agree with putting it on the warrant as an article, then we can have a motion to approve these two budgets. I forwarded everyone the memo from Valerie. Is there a motion then?
I move we approve the planning board budget for 78,778.
I second that.
Sorry, Craig, can we amend it to also include approval of the appeals board budget for $200?
Sure, I move we also approve the appeals board budget for $200.
And do you want to second that?
I second that.
Okay, great. Roll call. Omid,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. Okay. I'm gonna pause on police. We can't vote education because they haven't voted it, but we know that this is the number for Neshoba. And Nanachka, I think we can vote on debt service because everything that we have is already in here. The only new debt is the fire truck, which was approved last year.
That is correct.
And so just really quickly, can you verify that the bottom line number is 1,262,688?
Yes.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve total debt service in the amount of 1,262,688?
I move we approve total debt service in the amount of 1,262,688.
I second.
Okay, roll call. Anne,
Aye.
Omid,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Yes as well. And then finally, Nanachka, can we vote on this or should we wait until the 22nd because it might change again?
Yeah, because it's tied to all the salary numbers. So if the police salary is going to change, it'll probably change a bit.
Okay. All right, so that covers everything that we're going to vote on tonight for operating budget. Then let's just briefly go through the warrant again. Article 1, annual reports. Somebody want to make a motion to approve Article 1?
I move we approve Article 1.
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call. Anne,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Omid.
Aye.
Yes, as well. Article 2, unpaid bills for fiscal year 2021 for a total of $226.52.
Brian, can I ask a quick question here just for my own education? Why are these on the warrant as opposed to people just coming to the advisory committee and asking us to cover it?
I think because it's FY21.
Oh, I got you.
Right.
Okay. Yep.
You
Got it.
You can't cross fiscal
Yep.
year.
I move we approve Article 2 as written.
I second that.
Okay, Omid,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
and I'm yes as well. We'll pass over Article 3. Article 4, spending limits of revolving fund accounts. None of this should come as a surprise.
I move we approve Article 4 as written.
Somebody
I'll
want to
second
second? Okay, Ninotchka, you made a gesture like is there a concern there?
Nope.
Okay, just reading into your face. Okay, sorry. All right, roll call. Anne,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Omid,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
I'm yes as well. Okay, Article 5, town building emergency lighting.
I move we approve Article 5 as written.
I second.
Okay, roll call. Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
Omid,
Aye.
and I'm yes as well. Okay, Article 6, master planning technical assistance in the amount of $30,000.
A motion
I
to
move.
pass as written.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call. Anne,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Omid,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. Article 7, increased demand fees. So this is the demand from 10 to 30 for excise and other tax bills.
I
Michelle
move
explained this when she came to visit us.
I move we approve Article 7 as written.
I second.
Okay, all in favor, Craig,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
Omid,
Aye.
and I'm yes as well. Article 8, this was the one, Ninotchka, that you proposed. Closing out the unexpended funds for 49,252.
I move we approve Article 8 as written.
Seconded.
Okay, roll call. Anne,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Omid,
Aye.
I'm yes as well. Article 9, addition of Juneteenth as an accepted holiday for town employees, sponsored by Human Resources.
I move we approve Article 9 as written.
I second that motion.
Okay, roll call. Anne,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Omid,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
and I'm yes as well. Amend longevity. This was what Kristen had told us about.
I move we approve Article 10 as written.
I second.
Okay, roll call. Ann,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Omid,
I,
and I'm a yes as well. Did I forget anybody on that one? Sorry, this is like a little mind numbing, I have to admit. The roll call is like my least favorite thing. Okay, Article 11.
I move we approve Article 11 as written.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
it, Dan.
Okay, roll call. Ann,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Omid,
I,
and I'm a yes as well. Article 12, I actually have a question for either Stan or Bob if they're still here. I think that there's going to be a presentation regarding this article on Thursday. Is that correct?
Yes,
There's gonna be discussion about it on Thursday, yes.
yes.
Which article is it? What is it, the topic?
The solar,
lease.
the solar lease project.
Okay, all right, thank you. I don't have a papers in front of me, so I just deleted dumb tasking.
So part of me would just like to see the presentation on Thursday, and since we're posted, we could vote on Thursday after the presentation. But if somebody feels strongly that they want to vote tonight, then they could make a motion.
anyone thinking about names right now?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
If no one wants to say nay right now, we can vote on it. Or anyone has any doubts or anything else?
My only hesitation is that I feel like I haven't known very much about this, so I'd like to just see what the presentation is on Thursday personally.
All right then, let's do that next.
I would agree with you, Brian. It's not that it's been under the radar, but it really hasn't been a common topic of conversation.
Yeah. Okay, so let's pass over that until Thursday.
I think it shows some due diligence on our part.
Article 13 is the facilities shed.
I move we approve Article 13 as written.
Well, actually, let me ask Ninotchka, it is written, the article itself is written properly. It was just this PDF summary that was off, right?
The last number isn't quite right.
Bob, is
looks
it
right.
KT?
That's that's my recollection was the last number was like $4,813 and change.
Yeah.
No, it's if you add up all of those numbers, they will equal 11,000 something, and then the balance is the 4,000. I think when Don was just adding up his numbers, he just left out that
Right.
3744.
But the amount being transferred from free cash, which is in the lower left-hand corner of this, the last line, is incorrect. It's not 374441.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That needs to come from Article.
Well, why don't you guys approve it pending a correction to that last number?
Yep, yeah.
You can do it or do it on later in the week.
Yeah, the total spend.
Yeah, why don't we
is
do it
16.
later in the week and then we know it's good
Yeah,
to go.
we can do this one on
I mean, it's
Thursday as well.
$16,000 regardless. It's just the adding and subtracting. It's just the last number's off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I
wanna
think
have it
everybody's
right.
on board, but we'll vote it on Thursday.
You got a typo there also. So.
Yep. And then Article 14 is going to be removed.
Correct.
We don't have to vote on Article 15. And then just wanted to get a show of hands. So is there anybody that cannot attend on Thursday? This coming Thursday, the select board meeting? I just want to make sure we have a quorum. It starts at 7 o'clock. And then Bob Sikansky, you had a question?
No, I just forgot to take down my hand. I'm not sure that I think we have a hearing starting. I don't have the agenda in front of me, but I don't think the budget, the warrant is the first thing on our agenda.
No, it's not. It's
Yeah,
not.
it looks like
So maybe somebody could let us know what time we need to call in.
Why don't you go ahead and I'll go look at the copy of the agenda.
Yeah, according to
Okay,
the
great. Thank you.
website, the discussion of the solar projects is supposed to start at 7:15. So I think people should plan to be there no
Okay.
later than 7:15.
Okay.
Oh, Omid?
I might not be able to make it. As of right now, I am on call 24/7
Okay.
due to Russia and Ukraine. So I'm still like literally in a work outfit because I gotta go in more meetings with EU command while y'all sleep. But so I will let you know like in the morning or close to it if I can make those things.
Okay, well, it sounds like we'll have a quorum and
And I'm
It's-
sorry, what's the date of the meeting?
it's Thursday, March 10th.
Yes,
Thank
and right now, based upon the current agenda, we're gonna start the review of the warrant around 7:40. So 40 minutes
Okay.
after 7 o'clock.
Okay, so the only other business that I wanted to get through tonight was we could approve the minutes that Bill circulated for February 1st. And then I just wanted to confirm that in addition to the March 10th meeting on Thursday, our next meeting will be Tuesday, March 22nd. So just so you know. I had a chance to review the minutes. They look good to me. I don't know if somebody wants to make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted by Bill.
A motion to approve the minutes submitted by Bill.
I'll second that.
I heard a feline seconding the motion, but
Yeah, he talks a lot when I don't want him to.
all right. All in favor, Anne,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Omid,
Aye.
and I'm yes also. Okay, anything else before we adjourn?
Brian, the minutes for the 8th of February are on the street as well. You may not have had a chance to review them, but they're out there. And if I need to resend them, I can do that.
Oh, I apologize. I somehow missed those. Why don't we can either vote them on Thursday or maybe just do them on the 22nd
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we're
fine.
still pretty timely. Thank you for those. Okay, so unless there's anything else, first of all, thanks again to our select board for joining. It was really helpful. And is there a motion to adjourn?
I
Motion
move
to
we
adjourn.
adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
everybody can just raise their hand, all in favor. Okay, great. Thank you, Nanachka, as always.
Anytime.
All right, have a good night, everybody.
Good night,
Thanks again.
everybody.
Thank